Let me use this opportunity to say thank you for your contributions to the transformation of our country.
44 individuals and organizations bag Excellence in Public Service Award.
I will be at the forefront of this campaign.
All Progressives Congress inaugurates Presidential Campaign Council and Party Manifesto. House of Representatives moves to immortalize former First Lady. Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Reading with me tonight is Michael Olaleye from our Lagos studios. Don't forget to join us live on our website, nta.ng/live, and other social media platforms displayed on the screen. Now let's begin with the Excellence Awards, where 44 organizations and individuals who distinguished themselves in innovation and purposeful leadership have been recognized and rewarded for contributing immensely to the development of public service and the country. President Muhammadu Buhari, who presented the awards, commended the recipients for standing to be counted, for doing the right thing and leaving their footprints on the sands of time. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has all the details.
Among the recipients of the Nigeria Excellence Award in Public Service are former President Goodluck Jonathan for peace building, while that of Parliamentary Excellence went to Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. Several governors from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, serving and former ministers, security chiefs, heads of governmental and non-governmental organizations also received the awards in various categories. These include infrastructure delivery, innovation, as well as reforms impacting on critical sectors of the nation's economy. The event was put together by the Best Strategic Media in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
I would like to encourage all the recipients of this Excellence Award not to relent in their efforts towards contributing to the growth and development of the public service and the society at large, because growth and development should continually be our aspiration. In spite of differences in our political inclinations, we have a country that we must defend, that we must protect.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who commended the organizers for deploying one of the best indices in determining the suitability or otherwise of individuals and organizations for their awards, said this will go a long way towards challenging public officers to live above board in discharging their responsibilities, knowing that they are being monitored.
This is to put on record that this award is born out of empirical evidence of performance and not politics. Let me use this opportunity to say thank you for your contributions to the transformation of our country. This award is a validation of your approach, but much more as a motivation for you and other upcoming leaders to continue doing more towards the attainment of a better Nigeria in all sectors of the economy.
The president is, however, worried that issues in corruption attributable to deeply rooted problems like nepotism, political patronage, as well as lack of transparency and accountability have continued to distract public office holders from delivering on their mandates and aspirations.
Public service is a public trust where officers and even employees must be accountable to the people whom they should serve at all times with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency. They are expected to act with patriotism and think out of the box in order to solve the many problems facing the people which they lead.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan responded on behalf of the award recipients.
We always say that those who more is given, more is expected from them. We have selected 44 of us, honor us on the live television, being watched all over the world. The only thing is that we promise that we'll continue to do more for humanity.
Dr. Jonathan, however, made a strong case for the review of the structure and functions of local governments in Nigeria, saying if they are working, at least the security challenges would have been minimized and 1 or 2 council chairmen would have been recognized and also rewarded. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, for his exemplary leadership in public service, President Muhammadu Buhari has conferred the Excellence in Public Service Award on the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami. In a statement by the Special Assistant to the Executive Chairman, FIRS, Media and Communication, Oluwatobi Wojola, the award was presented to Mr. Nami by the President in recognition of his efforts at shoring up revenue for the country by introducing unprecedented modern, institutional and technological reforms which have seen the FIRS transformed. Within his 3 years in office, Mohammed Nami has transformed and repositioned the apex revenue body to ensure efficiency in revenue collection, leading to the collection of an unprecedented sum of 6.4 trillion naira by the FIRS in 2021, the highest ever collected by the service. Mr. Nami thanks the President for the opportunity to serve and dedicates the award to the board, management and staff of the FIRS, taxpayers, his family, friends and relatives, calling on Nigerians to continue to trust the government to deliver good governance while asking that all Nigerians honor their tax obligations to provide government the resources to build the nation of their dreams. And the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has executed high-impact projects across the country, and these projects have met the yearnings of the citizenry. Anthony Forson reports.
We have, over these years, highlighted its achievements via town hall meetings, press conferences. But as the administration winds down, we believe it's very important to consolidate our efforts and showcasing these achievements. Hence, we have designed a number of programs, including the series starting today.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed setting the records straight, and for the minister on whose shoulders rests the bulk of the nation's infrastructural development, Babatunde Raji Fashola, he started his scorecard this way.
A lot of debate has gone on about, oh, China is going to come and see this, China is going to take back our country. But I think we all should take time to find out how many Chinese loans are there even in Nigeria, how many. In the Ministry of Works and Housing, we have only two. We need to be careful to allege, for example, that billions were spent and the quality of the road is not good, and so on and so forth. What I know and what the engineers will tell you is that every road has a specified design life. That if you use it properly, the way it is designed to be used, it will last this number of years. Once that number of years is finished, that road will need to be rebuilt. And when we say we are rebuilding a road is built from the base, what is called the sub-base. We're talking of laterite. So you have to first remove everything, which is what is going on Abuja Canal, which is what is going on Lagos Canal. You see excavation.
About Nigeria slipping into recession, the Works Minister was quick to remind Nigerians on how it all started.
The seed of recession had already been sown before we came. By the way this sector was handled. So I at the top of that presentation, that newspaper, Thursday, 14th June 2012, 3 years before we came, Okonjo-Iweala warned Nigerians to prepare for economic recession. This is not personal. She was doing her job. Recession was coming. So it did not matter who won the election in 2015. We are going to go into a recession. So when I heard people say, oh, there was a recession under Buhari, yes, it was foretold. The seeds for it were laid before Buhari became president. Inherited it. The question to ask, what did Buhari do to get out of recession?
This President Muhammadu Buhari's 2015-2023 scorecard series is designed to wind down the tenure of the administration. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika has appeared before the House Committee on Aviation, saying the proposed 5% share of the federal government in the Nigeria airline project is in line with the provisions of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu has the details.
Flight delays and cancellations, high cost of the flight tickets and that of aviation fuel, as well as the 5% share in the new Nigerian air project were some of the issues that the minister explained.
We do know that most things that have to do with government as a business may not run very well. So the reason for the 5% is because we want the airline to have a sovereign shoulder to lean upon and also boost confidence of the investors that this is for real.
We have so many wealthy Nigerians. Let's market it to them. They'll be able to own this so that we can conserve our money for ourselves in the country.
Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Bajabiamila and other members sought more explanation.
It's an interactive section that involves very critical issues as it concerns our nation, as it concerns the industry.
We needed to adjourn till Monday to give you an opportunity to clarify some things. You and the CBN governor, those are the two players on that particular issue.
The proposed share of the federal government and Nigerians, as explained by the aviation minister, stands at 51% from the National Assembly. Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has presented a check of 100 million naira each to the leaders of the National Union of Road Transport Workers and the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria as grants to support members and enhance activities of the unions. The governor made the presentation during a visit to the union office in Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
Checks were presented to the leadership of NURTW and RTN at a ceremony attended by members of the two unions, which the governor said was in fulfillment of a pledge made to the two bodies of a grant meant to support members and enhance activities of the union. The present administration, since assumption of office, has continued to support MSMEs in the state as part of efforts to resuscitate businesses and livelihood activities crippled by the 12 years of insurgency. Governor Babagana Umara directed that both NURTW and RTN should set aside 50 million naira to support their members, while the remaining 50 million naira should be used to run activities of the unions. The governor used the opportunity to thank the two bodies for their continued support to the state government in the transport sector and urged them to maintain the tempo, assuring them of continued partnership. He also enjoined them to participate actively in the ongoing political activities, but should shun all acts capable of sabotaging the fragile peace in the state. Leadership of both NURTW and RTN appreciated the governor's continued support to them, noting his commitment and courage to reconstruct and resettle displaced communities to restore the lost glory of Borno, and assured to support the present administration at all times. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Still on transportation, the Buhari Media Organization says the second Niger bridge is no longer a mirage, but a reality. The media group describes the completion of the bridge as an affirmation of President Muhammadu Buhari's position that governance should not suffer, especially with the commencement of campaigns towards the 2023 general elections. BMO therefore urges subnationals to take a cue from the patriotic stance of President Buhari for continuity of governance. You're watching the network news at 9 on NTA. Let's take a break. The news will continue shortly. Thanks for staying tuned. We're talking ICT matters now. The federal government is engaging state governors on the gains of equitable broadband infrastructure across the country via the maiden edition of the Broadband Technical Awareness Forum, where the Communications and Digital Economy Minister, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, says it is to ensure that the federal government and states are on the same path as the nation pushes to implement the Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025. Chimdima Undubisi reports.
Like road, electricity and water, broadband is now considered a basic amenity because almost all socio-economic activities now depend on it.
Through the deployment of broadband infrastructure, we can also deliver health services for populations of the country.
An estimated 79.8% of Nigeria's population are connected to the internet. Broadband penetration is also at 44.68%.
When it comes to security, economic development, education, and other, broadband penetration or accessibility is no more luxury but rather a necessity. We know that our subnationals have a strong role to play.
At this interaction, issues on multiple, excessive, and right-of-way taxations came up as impediments to adequate broadband infrastructure deployment. As it is, fiber optic broadband networks cover less than 25% of the total fiber cables laid in the country.
We believe that there's so much we can gain when we work together as subnationals and the federal government, but there must be openness, there must be trust.
Partnership to deepen broadband infrastructure investment will equip citizens, the likes of 20-year-old Mohammed, for 35 to 45% jobs that will require digital skills in a short while. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
Now to election matters. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to be at the forefront of the campaign towards getting Asiwaju Bola Tinubu elected as next president of Nigeria, stating that the future of Nigeria is safer in the hands of APC leadership. The president stated this while formally inaugurating the APC Presidential Campaign Council and unveiling the action plan of the party's presidential candidate for Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
I will be at the forefront of this campaign.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who chairs the Presidential Campaign Council comprising zonal and state coordinators, advisors, patrons, and several directorates, said the cost of losing the gains Nigeria has made is much more than the need to stop what he called the hemorrhage that led to their coming together in 2014.
I want to charge every member to put in maximum efforts during the next 4.5 months of campaign to ensure we record a resounding victory in all our elections nationwide. The future of this country is safer in our hands. Our candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is too well known for his capacity and can do spirit. He stands tall in his track record as a democrat, a champion of the rule of law, a man at home in every part of our country, and a truly visionary leader.
The president said the APC family members have every reason to be proud of the governing party's achievements in the last 7 years, despite the unfavorable circumstances of global economic downturns, COVID-19 pandemic, insecurity, as well as inherited systemic corruption.
Our commitment to stimulate our nation's economy through massive infrastructural development has not been misplaced. The real impact of our efforts will be felt more as the various projects are completed and put to use in the coming days. Our administration remains committed to progressively eliminate all flashpoints of insecurity nationwide. We would triumph over the enemies of our country in whatever form and shape they appear.
He, however, made a strong case for all APC members to at all times subscribe to the supremacy of the party and see themselves as ambassadors of its progressive principles. President Muhammadu Buhari, the presidential candidate, and his running mate, the party's national chairman, and other critical stakeholders formally unveiled the action plan of the Asiwaju Shetima ticket entitled Renewed Hope. The compendium clearly shows what needs to be done and how to get it done towards sustaining Nigeria's upward trajectory in critical sectors of the economy.
And we are saying today, the renewed hope of this country will be for real. This is a promise that you can depend on. The hope is back, renewed, and solid.
There is no doubt that Nigerians have found in the APC the Moses to lead them to the promised land.
For the national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, APC, which remains the party to beat, will never be disappointing as the Buhari administration has laid a solid foundation for a sustainable future of the country.
Our party is united around a common cause, the cause of peace, unity, and national development.
I assure you that we will work assiduously to deliver on your mandate of seeing an APC to APC transition from President Muhammadu Buhari to President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
No date has yet been fixed for the launch of the APC presidential campaign. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Election Debate Group and the Nigerian Economic Summit Group have opened a platform to actively engage 4 presidential candidates and their running mates ahead of the 2023 elections. In view of this, the groups have launched an opinion poll as a pre-selection model. Saliu Gwanara tells us more.
What do you think?
These groups are interested in Nigeria's electioneering activities and promise to sustain their passion of identifying and promoting candidates who distinguished themselves during interrogation with the public. Participants, in this case the presidential candidates, are expected to share their insight on how Nigeria can sustainably grow its economy while addressing core issues of macroeconomic environment, fiscal and monetary policies, diversification and deregulation.
NESD has a record of all the things they've been doing on the economy of the country, but we still need something not only from Nigeria but also from the diaspora. People outside want to ask questions, and those questions will not be compiled when we go for the debate.
Reason was given while only 4 out of the 18 political parties are participating.
I can tell you today, some of them running for presidency that don't have an office in Abuja here.
The monthly engagement will commence in November 2022 in Abuja. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
As preparations for the 2023 general elections gain momentum, the presidential candidate of the Young Progressives Party, YPP, Malik Ado Ibrahim, has flagged off his campaign, which is hinged on resetting Nigeria based on patriotism, empathy, justice and unity. Some party faithful are optimistic that the Young Progressives Party
would start to build a coast guard that will know what's happening in the creeks, that will know what kind of boats and illegal activities happening in our coastline. It'll free our Navy up to look for piracy and those that would want to come and do us harm. We will create jobs. We'll bring young people into the protection of this country.
Party faithful are optimistic that the Young Progressives Party, with Malik Ado Ibrahim as presidential candidate and Ina Kasarachi as vice presidential candidate, will set Nigeria on the path of progress and prosperity.
A man that can listen to you. We need a man who has empathy, who has feeling. This is a man that will listen. This is a man that will give young people voice.
This is a new beginning of resetting Nigeria through the instrumentality of the Young Progressives Party and through the vibrancy of our candidates.
He has the experience, and I tell you, he's going to move Nigeria from where it is to the next level.
The presidential candidate of the Young Progressives Party, Malik Ado Ibrahim, is an entrepreneur and the founder of Reset Nigeria initiative. And a much louder voice echoes, calling for women inclusiveness in the political sphere of the country, with high hopes that women will do better when given room for participation. The Nigerian Women Search for Good Governance say they will no longer sit on the edge.
If you want our support, if any president wants our support, you must be able to give women, what we want. That's just one side of it. The other side of it is women who are contesting election. As you know, the parties have refused, to implement this 35% to ensure that women who are contesting for election are up to 35%. So we want a government that will give at least more than that 35% in appointed positions, to women.
We want to say, no, enough is enough. We have the power in our hand, and our power is the vote. If you want our vote, you have to engage us.
Several issues were discussed with the presidential candidates for a progressive Nigeria to depict what they stand for. The House of Representatives is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that issues bordering on women inclusion and empowerment receive prompt attention from the legislature. Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila stated this in a message to the public hearing on a bill to amend the National Women Development Center Act to enhance its functions and rename it after former First Lady Mariam Babangida. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports.
The amendment bill also seeks to rename the center after the late Mariam Babangida, whom stakeholders describe as a gender parity champion.
On behalf of the Babangida family, I want to place on record, on his behalf, as he told me, our commendation to this entire committee for deeming it necessary to recognize the effort of his wife, the late Mariam Babangida.
I'm a living testimony and a beneficiary of what late Mariam Babangida advocated for.
I'm a beneficiary of a mentorship.
Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, in his message, tasked stakeholders to come up with recommendations that would help the center live up to its responsibilities.
We still have to protect the rights of women and girls, honor their dignity, and give them opportunities to rise to their highest potentials.
Somebody started it. We should work on it. We should not allow it to die. And since we have a development center, that we should also name it after her.
I would like to express my appreciation for the opportunity given to us and for your cooperation and support towards the development and empowerment of the Nigerian women.
We pray that by God's grace, all those who have labored for both men and women in this country, that their labors will not be in vain.
A report on the outcome of the public hearing would be laid before House plenary for consideration. From the National Assembly, Vivian Idepefo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has called for concerted efforts by all key players towards reducing the effects of disasters which cause humanitarian crisis. This was during his visit to Benue State to commiserate with flood victims as well as those displaced as a result of attacks by gunmen. Elias Itiav reports.
The visit of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, is born out of the desire to have a first-hand experience of flooding in the state and to sympathize with victims of the disaster. To ensure an on-the-spot assessment of the damage done, the Labour Party presidential standard-bearer ferried around some of the flooded areas within Makurdi metropolis where he interfaced with the victims.
Let us go and see how we can have a sense of feeling to mistreat, sympathize with those who are affected. And that's what we're doing here. I've been to the ID camp. And then I came here personally to meet people who have lost everything.
Secretary to the State Government, Anthony Ijoho, while appreciating what he described as an uncommon gesture, says the visit is a demonstration of his care for the needy and vulnerable persons in the society.
You are into the water, those who are affected. You are speaking to those who are affected by this one. It shows that you are somebody who gets
The presidential hopeful also made a cash donation to internally displaced persons' camps for their upkeep. In Makurdi, Elias, ATF, NTA News.
Still on emergency relief, the Northeast Development Commission is responding to the plight of flood victims in the region as the intervention agency has handed over food and non-food items to Yobe State Government for distribution to affected persons across the state. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Like many states in the Federation, Yobe State this year had its unfair share of flood disaster. In discharging its mandate as a regional intervention agency, the Northeast Development Commission is not resting on its oars in the provision of succor to flood victims across the region with the donation of food and non-food items to Yobe State Government for onward distribution to deserving beneficiaries across the state to cushion their hardship.
On 18th of August, in Borno State, when the President presided over the World Humanitarian Day, we made a commitment to provide succor to nurses, and you have seen today, physically, you have seen we are giving Yobe State 10,000 bags of rice.
My expectation is that things will go around, and all the 11 local governments out of the 17 that have been affected by the floods will get the items that have been provided.
The Commission's management was also at the Government House on a courtesy visit where the Chairperson House Committee on NEDC, Khadija Bukarabo Ibrahim, and the Managing Director of the agency, Mohammed Goni Al-Ghali, both commended Yobe State Government for taking proactive measures against the disaster.
We are really appreciative for the palliatives we have brought to the state. So this intervention came at the right time.
The Managing Director of the NEDC was also at the site of the 250 housing units for IDPs in Damaturu to inspect the ongoing project, which has reached an appreciable level of completion, with similar project currently ongoing spread across 5 other local government areas of the state. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Let's now join Michael in Lagos for more reports. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Najatu. The West Africa Examinations Council WAEC continues to blaze the trail in actualizing its core mandate. To ensure prompt service delivery, the council broke new grounds technologically with the unveiling of the digital certificate confirmation system. Adiola Komiakiri reports.
This platform is created for the people that actually read the exam. It is important that they are coming with the information exactly as the way it was captured. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the WAEC certificate.
Education is the best legacy to bequeath one's child. How the child goes through the process the right way is what WAEC has continued to champion, thereby putting an end to the myriads of malpractices before, during, and after examinations. With the unveiling of a new electronic device to curb any clog in the Council's wheel of progress, candidates and institutions can now access, share, and confirm certificates and results from any part of the world by logging into the Council's website at www.waec.org to get started. Head, Nigerian National Office of WAEC, Patrick Arega, was emphatic that with the benefits the platform offers, it cannot be hacked.
It has eliminated the issue of fraud, because when you carry your fiscal certificate, some people alter them. You have seen cases of altered results, but in this case, nobody can alter anymore. You are in the University of Maiduguri, you want to go abroad, they are asking you to confirm your result. You first of all come to WAEC, you make an application, it will take time for WAEC to process it, and it will take time for the courier service to deliver it. But this one now, within 5 minutes, everything is done.
The digital platform, the council says, is available to the over 30 million certificate holders who wrote the exams from 1999 to date to access and share original copies of their certificates, while those from 1970 to 1998 can access theirs from February 2023. WAEC also announced that subsequently, candidates will no longer have to wait for months before getting access to their certificate, as they will be available on the digital platform immediately after the results are released. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Disasters are inevitable in life. However, when they are man-made, it leaves too many questions unanswered. Lagos has been in the news in recent times with one too many building collapse incidents. Seeking answers to the causes and measures to change the trend, Ruth Ariel Samuel spoke with those on whose shoulders lied the responsibility of ensuring safe buildings.
The building collapse in Lagos State has assumed an alarming dimension, leaving residents with apprehension of where the next incident could occur. From Ikoyi to Mushin, residents have witnessed building collapse which always resulted to the loss of lives and property. Question on the lips of Lagosians whenever there's a building collapse is why?
Design could be faulty, it could be failure in foundation, it could be use of poor quality materials, poor workmanship.
Using people that are not licensed to build. So, and it's because they don't have a stake, so they can do whatever and go away with it.
Cutting corners, rushing to finish construction, overburdening foundations and pillars. What is the place of evaluation and monitoring?
We are concerned about their loss of investment that happens every time a building collapses. That's a loss to the national economy, and we will not want that to continue. Anybody who is putting up a structure should engage a competent and registered builder.
If federal government can control all these things so that in the market, if there is original materials all true, all these things can be occur again.
The need for quality control, experts say, should be of priority. Little wonder the federal government, since 1989, set up an association of building experts to checkmate this menace.
One of the first things they will do is to make sure that every site is being implemented. In other words, the practices, the building technology, the methodology, the processes on site are in accordance with the National Building Code.
With the new vigor professionals in the building industry are putting in place to rectify the dent to their profession while ensuring safety of buildings, it is hoped that building collapse will reduce and, if possible, averted totally. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news continues shortly. Please stay.
Thanks for staying tuned. The Federal Road Safety Corps has been charged to improve on its education and sensitization of motorists, as well as impose more sanctions on violators, as many lack requisite road safety rules. The chairman, Nigeria Road Safety Partnership, Erabai Aihoji, said this during a visit to the headquarters of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Abuja. Oyemi Ajayi reports.
Statistics from the Federal Road Safety Corps reveals that nearly 5,000 people die yearly from road traffic crashes in Nigeria, culminating to 15 lives lost daily. Many attribute causes to ignorance of some motorists, to traffic signs and rules, as well as deviance of some. These, the Federal Road Safety Corps agrees, must be nipped in the bud to achieve 50% crash reduction.
Solution to road traffic crash can better be achieved through collaborative efforts involving public, private sector, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, and the media.
Road safety is everyone's business. It is not left to agencies alone, but to every single person to ensure that everybody goes back home safely at the end of the day.
The Nigerian Road Safety Partnership, conscious of safety for road users and the enormity of the task for the Corps, donated 250 reflective jackets to the FRSC for officers and men as part of its support. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
And now for business news, where I hear there's a sweet policy involving sugar. Musa will give us the details.
Thank you, Naja. The Executive Secretary, National Sugar Development Council, Zak Adideji, has hailed President Muhammadu Buhari for approving the Phase 2 plan for the implementation of the Nigeria Sugar Master Plan, an ambitious and well-thought-out policy for the sugar sector, saying the gesture will boost investors' confidence and also attract more investments to the industry. Adideji made the assertion in Lafiagi, Kwara State, during a visit to assess the level of work so far, discussed the new modalities for reporting progress in line with the National Sugar Master Plan Phase 2 guidelines, and have more on the supremacy of the plan, which he described as the guiding principle of the sector.
A lot of challenges which they've identified. As you know, that Nigeria is part of the global system. So the delay that you see in some areas were explained based on the scarcity of forex, inflation, war in Ukraine, and many other external factors that actually impacted the way they would have loved to move.
With an initial 10-year mandate to revitalize the sector to enable Nigeria attain self-sufficiency in sugar production, the National Master Plan was first launched in 2012 and began operation in 2013. Only recently, the Federal Executive Council approved the second phase of the plan to operate from 2023 to 2033, a development hailed by top industry players. And now to the capital market. The equities market closed Friday's trading session in positive territory. The all-share index climbed 0.15% at 44,396.73 basis points. A total turnover of 95.18 million units of securities valued at 1.8 billion naira were traded in 2,888 deals. Equity capitalization increased to 24.18 trillion naira. The financial services industry led the activity chart, with Fidelity Bank followed by Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust Holding Company. And that's business news. Well, the news continues after the break.
Up next is Sports Update. And before we leave, a condolence message. President Muhammadu Buhari condoles David Mark, former Senate President David Mark, over the passing of his son Tunde. President Muhammadu Buhari shares in the pain and commiserates with friends, relations and associates of the former Senate President over the loss of the promising gentleman who over many years worked with his father, supporting and holding various responsibilities as a public servant. President Buhari urges Senator Mark and his family to find solace in the good works of the departed and praise the Almighty to comfort and grant the family the fortitude to bear the loss. Meanwhile, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, sends heartfelt condolences to former President of the Senate, David Mark, over the death of his son, Tunde Mark. The President of the Senate condoles with members of his family and the good people of Benue State over the tragic loss and prays God to grant him the fortitude to grant the deceased eternal rest. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, Abubakar expresses sadness over the loss of the son of the former president of the Senate, David Mark. And that concludes the news. Thanks for watching. See you next time.